Shalom, my friends. Rabbi Bradley Shavit Artson here from the Ziegler School of Rabbinic Studies, American Jewish University in Los Angeles. I hope you are not only enduring these challenging times, I hope you're finding ways to thrive. I hope you're finding points of light. I want to offer you one of them from this week's Torah portion. We're reading this week in Tazria Metzora, which is amazingly relevant to the pandemic we're going through right now. The Torah speaks about someone who has tzarat, which used to be translated as leprosy. It's not the same as Hansen's leprosy, but it's some kind of skin illness that requires people to then isolate themselves, to separate from the community. Astonishing that the Torah understands that the way you contain an epidemic, a plague, is to be able to help people separate and maintain what we call social distance. So the person does that, and after a period of time they get examined. Now, strikingly, the Torah never says that this is a punishment for some infraction, some moral failing, some ritual failing. This isn't anyone's fault, it just is. And the community responds, and its response is to label it with a term of ritual impurity, not of moral failing. So the person calls that out, and we're told here that what they're supposed to do is listen carefully to the word. V'hizartem et bnei Yisrael mitumatam, and you shall separate the people of Israel from their ritual uncleanness, from their tumah. V'lo yamutu betumatam, so that they should not perish or die in their uncleanness. B'tim'as et mishkavei asher betocham, when they might defile my tabernacle that's in their midst. Now, the Torah lays out a couple interesting things for us to think about. The first is that when you discover yourself in a state of tumah, or possible tumah, then you have to separate yourself out from the community. And that becomes a religious obligation. It's not just a precaution, and it's certainly not just about protecting yourself. It's about protecting others. So you distance yourself from others so as not to spread the contagion to them. And the goal here has two purposes. The first, that they don't die in their tumah, so that you maintain your health and maximize your possibility of recovery, and also you maximize the chance of other people to either not catch the illness or to suffer from it. But the second category is then that you don't defile God's tabernacle. There's a spiritual lesson here, that we each take responsibility for each other. When I go out of my house, I put on a mask. I do that not for me. I do that to acknowledge my obligations to you, to protect you. I shelter at home. I try to minimize my contact outside of the home. And here, let's just thank those people who don't have that luxury. The people who are, because of their work or because of their families or their social structures, are required to go out in the world, even in these risky times. God bless you all, and thank you for the work you do. And the rest of us, all of us, we need to take responsibility too. So let's remember the Torah's instruction that in a time of widespread tumah, widespread whatever that contagion is, that we need to shelter, we need to protect ourselves and each other, we need to do what is medically and scientifically beneficial to the maximal containment of this challenge, and then we need to attend to what it means to keep God's tabernacle pure. And we do that by taking responsibility for ourselves, we take responsibility for each other, and we remember, my friends, that even though we are physically separate, we are spiritually connected. Shalom.